are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by the Keeg, where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. For those of you who don't know, New Comic Book Day is every Wednesday at your local comic shop. Go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you. It doesn't matter whether you like DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, IDW, Boom, Dynamite, any sort of comics, and or, all of the above. It doesn't matter what you like. They all come out every single Wednesday at your local comic shop. And we are here every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/The Keeg Show and on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts to talk about all the comics that came out this week. Everything that came out / everything that we could read in 24 hours to get ready for this show. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera. And again, if you're watching us live, you're watching us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're watching us after the fact on youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Or maybe you're listening to the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but wherever you're digesting us, like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review. Let us know you're out there. If you're watching us live, hop in the chat. It's always nice to see people, interact and that sort of thing. It's nice to know when people are out there. But it's not just me, your host. I got two awesome guests here, both of which are just regulars on the Comic Talk crew at this point. We got Ethan, aka Virgo Blade. Ethan, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. I have a question for you, and I mean, it's just a question that now we're doing. Just add more questions. Between 1 to 10, this week in comics, what would you rate this week in comics?
Might have to give it a 10. You know what? I'll 9 to be fair. It's almost a 10. Some, it's not like there were bad comics, but I did expect a bit more from some, but the ones that hit hard really hit hard.
That's fair. That's a good score, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think I've pointed it out before that I don't know if there's a perfect 10 week for me, because DC and Marvel kind of split up all their comics over the weeks. So I'm like, is there ever a perfect week? I don't know, but there's always close to perfect, and it's nice when that happens.
One day it's gonna happen.
Okay. All right.
I believe it.
If there's ever can you imagine a 3 Wednesday month? There's no such
thing. That would be February?
No, it still wouldn't. Unless there was a week where all the comic shops or comic publishers were oh, we're taking this week off. So maybe December, maybe December, they might be oh, maybe we don't do it on Christmas Day. Christmas Day falls on a Wednesday, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look at the calendar and see what's up. But our second guest is technically the new. Joshua? Are you the newest person on the Comic Talk crew?
I think I might be.
You might be. I can't figure out whether Cosmic has been on the show, came after you or before you or not. But what's up, man? Joshua, aka Joshua Stephen Ling.
I'll be the newest. That's okay.
Okay. What would you rate this week in comics?
I'm gonna agree and say it was pretty close to being a 10 week, but there was I agree there was a few things that just didn't hit as hard as I feel like they could have. So I'm gonna also do a 9. I think, but everything that I read was really good. So it was a really good week.
It was a really good week. I will say though that I didn't read as many books as I normally read or had planned, and that's not me just being humble. I only read a handful this week because I've been so busy, and it sucks being an adult and doing all this stuff. So we'll go through our reading lists because there's still a lot of books to go over. But I'm gonna go first, just because I don't want it to ramp up to me and I'd say. So I read a handful of books this week. What I read though was Absolute Green Arrow issue number 1. I read New Titans 35. I read Fantastic Four 11, and I read Inglorious X-Force number 5. I think that's all I read, but that's my list.
Nice. I mean, life happens,
Life
you
happens.
can't always.
Yeah. Ethan, you want to go next?
Sure. I got Superman Unlimited issue 13, Absolute Green Arrow issue number 1, Absolute Flash issue 15, New Titans issue 35, Batwoman issue 3, The Amazing Spider-Man issue 29, Fantastic Four issue 11, X-Men United issue 3, and I picked up Odin, but I did not get to Odin.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did my best.
Image
Also,
Comics Odin had a lot of covers this week, and sometimes I'm like, oh, that's like, this publisher really believes in this book. There's like 20 covers. They're like, oh, this is gonna be like a runaway hit. So okay.
Yeah. And like James has never let me down, so I trusted it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Joshua, what do you got?
All right. I got Absolute Green Arrow number 1, Absolute Flash 15, Nightwing 138, Batwoman number 3, the Sirens Love Hurts finale, X-Men United 3, Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon 4, Amazing Spider-Man 29, Inglorious X-Force number 5, the Rocketfellers 0, Odin number 1, TMNT Shredder number 8, and then Nectar number 3.
Awesome. All right, that's a good list.
I stayed up way too late.
I also did, but doing other stuff. So I was like, I need to should have allotted a little bit more time to the comics that came out this week. But
Priorities.
yeah, I wish. I
Be a
mean,
good adult.
I'm already prioritizing comics pretty high on my list of priorities. But yeah, this week was a little tough. So, for anyone out there who is watching and or listening, next we're going to go over our picks of the week. But I did ask you guys whether I could pick first just because. So normally I don't do it, so forgive me. But yeah, let's go through our picks of the week. My pick of the week is Absolute Green Arrow issue number 1 by DC Comics by way of Absolute DC, written by Pornsak Pichot, I believe, and art by Raphael Albuquerque. This was, I think, all 3 of ours like most hyped comic of the week. And so when I was like creating the images for our like picks, I was like, I don't want to put the same cover 3 times. So I picked variant covers for each of us. I think Joshua got the main cover, but like the covers are super sick. The variant covers are really good. And then the story, I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen in it because like Oliver Queen is dead as of Absolute Evil, the one shot. And then he dies, and then it was funny because they had announced Absolute Green Arrow, and then he dies in Absolute Evil, which caught people off guard. And then this premise is that there is a serial killer killing corrupt billionaires. And I feel weird saying serial killer. Let's call him vigilante because
That's better.
I don't want to be too harsh on him.
Yeah.
But this Absolute version is really cool because Merlin and Hector Hammond are in it, and Dinah, is she Dinah Drake or Dinah Lance in this?
She's Dinah Lance.
Okay.
Lance.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot going on, and I mean I think this was it was between this or Inglorious X-Force number 5 for me, but Absolute Green Arrow was a banger, and I'm really interested to see what comes next.
Oh yeah, this was fire. This exceeded my expectations, and they were already very high. Just like the art really got me, and like I'm more of a writer guy than I am an art guy, just because like I need a great story. I can like digest like mediocre art, but I cannot really deal with like bad writing. But the fact that these like covers, I'm like, I don't know, I'm getting like a strong vigilante, out for vengeance, very dark type of vibe, like how like he's being constructed, his bow and arrow, how it's like blades, and also like the premise. And so going into it, it's like it was already very high of like, can they top this? But they absolutely did. this was as strong as, you know, absolute Batman, absolute Wonder Woman #1, which I felt like out the gate really impressed me. And that's what this did. It just like hit the ground running, like opened up first, you know, a few pages, you're getting absolute Green Arrow. Very hardcore, very cathartic as well, you know, just with, I feel like I'm really leaning into the more topical political stories, and I want that more in my comics. I know some people don't feel that way. I do. I want these things addressed and dealt with, and that's what makes like the Absolute Universe the perfect like bridge for like what we're experiencing right now. I just feel like you can like almost live vicariously through these stories, and that's what this does. So yeah, this was a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Joshua?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was really one of my most anticipated books. I think I've said this on the show before, like I just got into reading DC comics not that long ago, so I'm pretty fresh on DC stuff. I've been mostly Marvel. But like I read the previous Green Arrow run that just ended and loved it. And I love kind of the way that they always bring those politics into like a Green Arrow book. So I was really, same as you, Ethan, I was really hoping that they wouldn't ignore that just for like a horror book.
Right.
So I was really excited to see that like really be at the forefront of the story, which I really enjoyed. The art is there. It's just incredible and really drew me in. The story is just so good. And it is, whenever people talk about oh, it's a horror book, it's basically a slasher book. I'm like, okay. And they delivered on that, I think, in this book. Like it felt very scary at times. It felt very intense. And really from the very beginning, classic slasher film opening. Yeah, 10 out of 10. I thought it was great. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I like a mystery also, so I'm glad we don't get any big reveals. Yeah, really into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this lends itself to kind of affirming my theory in a way. I don't know if I've talked about it to you guys before, but basically my theory is that the absolute DC universe is just our universe, not exactly, not literally, but in a metaphysical sort of way. So basically, because here's the thing, it's like growing up, you read comics and like, you know, it's very based around, especially DC, is like good guys always win. Like they literally say that when they cross over with the crime syndicate, like in a world where bad guys always win, in the DC universe, good guys always win. And so it's this idea that like DC Comics is supposed to mirror our own world, except have superpowers and like superheroes in it. And sure, it has super villains, but there's a hope ingrained in the DC universe, like the thread of the universe where it's like, oh yeah, good guys will always win. And like it sucks because in real life, like some of us can still hold that belief, sure, but a lot of the times we're proven wrong in that respect, right? So this idea that like maybe our universe in its like fundamental nature, like in real life, isn't the prime Earth DC. Maybe it is the absolute DC universe where maybe corruption and negativity is kind of like built in the universe, but you can still have hope and overcome. Corruption and struggle are just like part of the fabric of the universe, but it doesn't mean that good guys don't exist, that good guys can't make a difference. I feel like Absolute Green Arrow, with a lot of its parallels, is essentially saying like, yeah, the structure is the same as our real world.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's funny. I feel like the Absolute Universe really made me rethink our world. Really, when it comes to like Superman energy having alpha energy and Darkseid energy having omega energy, and looking at it from that context of like the reason why the main DCU, the good guys always win, is because of Superman. Like he is the originator, and so our universe, you know, we don't have a Superman, so our Lex Luthor has no one to oppose him. So he's able to skyrocket as far as he can possibly go because there's no one there who can actually stop him. He is using the tools of our very corrupt society in his favor. And so that's really like for the first time made me look at our universe and think of like what makes this up and why ours is so different. And if we did have Superman here, he would be able to stop that. But since we don't, and we have people who, go along with what the people in power, say, what they tell us, and abide by the quote unquote law, which we're not going to get too heavy into this,
Yeah,
but
but yeah,
but,
I'm the
but
one who
I'm
started. I get it.
right. But I'm just going to say that just because something is lawful doesn't mean that it is good.
Yeah.
It was once lawful to own slaves.
Yeah.
So we cannot look at that in the same context. So that's the beauty of superheroes, and so even though we don't have them in our world, we have comic books to remind us of what goodness is, of what justice is. And that's why when people limit what superheroes are, I get personally offended, because this world is telling us something completely different. It's deciding what reality is. When we can hear the lies, we can see the corruption, but we're being told, oh, that's okay, that these gas prices are rising and taxes are rising while our quality of life isn't rising. So that's why we need these parallels to compare ourselves to. And that's the beauty of the absolute universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely think the absolute
Yeah.
universe is just a mirror. It's like holding a mirror up to our world. And then the DC Prime Earth is like what we would wish to be, what we would hope to be.
Yes.
And I've thought about this, even taking our universe out of the equation, is like the fundamental fabric of the DC universe, I think, is based on hope and legacy. And that's why, but Marvel, the individual stories can differ in both in throughout the universe. It's not all one story in DC, but like Marvel to me is based on struggle, and like I feel like the fundamental fabric of the Marvel universe is struggle versus like hope and legacy. That's why legacy characters, they don't hit the same in Marvel that they do in DC.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the struggle, like a character like Spider-Man, I don't know who's comparable in DC to that level of like always going for the football and having it taken out from underneath him, like Peanut style. Like I don't think there's a character in DC that has that. But like that is Spider-Man all the time. And I think just and the mutant struggle too, like in Marvel, the struggle isn't the same in DC, but the hope is more ingrained in it. And I think that's like the fundamental difference.
Yeah. And now that you say that, I think that there may be a deeper reason. I mean, maybe an alternate reason why I am drawn more towards DC. And it's like, I struggle enough.
Yeah.
So it's like having DC, having that like sense of goodness mixed with like real stuff. Real stuff does happen in like my real stuff. I mean, dark stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not like DC is like, skipping through a meadow and there's flowers all the time.
Right.
But I think that because that essence of like pure goodness and like legacy is there's this sense of safety. Like when I read JSA or JLA, it just feels like there's a like pure goodness to it that I crave, that I feel like, not that Marvel doesn't have its own thing. They're, different in their own ways, but I just feel like DC does kind of corner the market on like the emphasis of goodness in the context of like legacy. And I think that's why I'm drawn towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joshua, were you going to say something?
No, I agree. I think that there is that interesting dynamic, especially with Marvel, where it feels like they want the version of hope that comes from the struggle or from this feeling of having to constantly be at odds with something, rather than the beacon, right? So like even someone like Captain America, who I feel like is the most hopeful character in a lot of the stories, and the aspiration, right? He still always is struggling in some way and up against these opposition forces in a way that is so different than this beacon of hope that I think we get in the DC characters through that like kind of legacy built into the universe itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like I'm thinking about this, and it's this idea of like the Marvel universe essentially as a whole is like literal like bomb squad like cutting the wires one by one and hoping that it doesn't blow up every single time. Because I'm thinking about like the DC universe, they never like they will always have a future. Like even like in alternate futures and whatnot, there is a future, but there's so many Marvel alternate futures where it's like, no, like everything's dead. Like everything's gone. There is like Marvel is always like, look, we're just gonna like survive to the next day. We're cutting these wires hoping that like one of them doesn't trigger. And like those alternate universes is like, oh yeah, it triggers. Like Marvel Zombies or like Days of Future Past or like so many like alternate futures in Marvel where it's like, oh yeah, nothing exists anymore. But in DC, it's like there will always be a future, and there are bad guys in those futures, but there is at least a future. Legion of Superheroes, Kingdom Come, Batman Beyond, like the DC timeline always has a future. Marvel, it's like, do we live past tomorrow? Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
very apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
bleak. It's very depressing, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and like Marvel's just like, look, keep your head down, keep your feet moving, and like if we make it to the next day, we make it to the next day. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I need more hope.
Yeah, it is kind of that's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just like me. And like I love Marvel. I love the X-Men. I relate to, the struggle that they go through. At the same time, there's this sense of like perpetual darkness and struggle that I think works against them. Sometimes you can look at Krakoa, and while I think I wasn't really upset that it happened, because to me my mind went to like, the Tulsa Race Massacre. It's like, our havens are always destroyed. So that was fine, but it's like the story you tell afterwards. And I think that not all of the X-Men stories were up to par to really handle that. And so I think sometimes I can be more critical when it is maybe very close to home. And I'm like, okay, that needed to be there, that needed to be there. Versus DC, which, mind you, has their own problems. I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
perfect. That's a whole other story. But at the same time, I feel like I can judge it almost more objectively versus it being a subjective experience when it's too directly related.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, closing thoughts with Absolute Green Arrow is that like they bring up so many corrupt billionaires and their problems and essentially Epstein Island and like all that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
I never feel bad in these books when the characters are dying, because I'm like, they literally like kill a guy who touches kids. Like,
Yeah, like I'm definitely that guy on TikTok complaining about being shadow banned because he's talking about what's happening.
yeah.
And like there's no chill, there's no, because
You're talking about when TikTok is in, like, essentially the TikTok videos are in this.
yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene. That was done so well. Even how
Yeah.
they talked was very realistic. So
The
I
grape
appreciate,
emoji.
yes.
Yeah.
Like that, like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they could,
Yeah.
because oftentimes like they'll do like an iteration of like, oh, here are people like talking to each other, and it doesn't really sound authentic. But this one sounded authentic,
Yeah.
looked authentic. I was very impressed.
A lot of times in these type of things, and even on TV, it's always like you can tell it's like an old person writer that doesn't know the platform they're talking about, and they'll be like, let's go on the Plick Plock and make
Yeah.
friends with
Yes.
everyone, or I click bad on Plick Plock. Oh no, we're going viral on Plick Plock.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Very cringe.
yeah. But
Yeah.
shout out to Pornsack for doing such a great job on this first issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to be editor of the old Vertigo, I believe, back in the day. I've met him once,
Okay.
a long time
Oh,
ago.
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. What are your guys' who wants to go next on their pick of the week?
Do
I
we
can
want
go.
to stick? Yeah.
Okay. So my pick is Absolute Flash issue 15.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this. The Rogues came back. You know how much I love Captain Cold.
Yeah.
He's my fave. I'm upset about what they have to do. Like
Mhm.
not y'all putting my two favorite things about this comic book together and having the Rogue. Oh wait, you haven't read it.
I haven't
so-
read it, but I'm okay. It is what it
Okay.
is. I'll read it no matter what. So spoil away.
Okay, so they have to kill Grodd. They have to hunt Grodd.
No.
Yes. And I'm like, so there was that excitement of, oh, we're seeing the Rogues again, to the disappointment of like, not y'all killing my favorite
Oh.
absolute Pokemon.
Yeah.
So so
Did-
that was just
Did Absolute Grodd turn into an incel yet? Like, you know how like his dad was just like, you know, turning him.
So we haven't really caught back up with Grodd. We don't
Okay.
see him. They just get sent this
Yeah.
mission. But Wally, I'll keep it vague, so I want you to enjoy it.
Okay.
But yeah, he does get this message from the future, but I don't know if he's going to pay attention to it because it involves his dad. But I also think that it's doing a really good job of like hinting at things to come while also not allowing it to feel like deterministic. So like it still feels like he's making his decisions, might be going against some decisions. This was a bit of a setup issue, but I don't complain about those usually because if it's set up to where I'm excited about those stories, then to me it succeeded. And so that's what I think this did. After the Mirror Master storyline, I mean, it's still ongoing because they haven't resolved it, but I do feel like they are leading towards other stories that also look interesting while also looping back to Mirror Master.
Okay. All right.
So yeah.
I mean, I read last issue. I just didn't get to read this one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Last issue was good too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought this was a great issue. Again, I usually don't complain about setup issues either, especially if they're done well, and give me enough intrigue for the stories that they're kind of dropping hints at. And I think this one did a really great job. I we get some cool stuff with some cool characters. Again, I agree with Ethan. Like I love seeing the rogues. One of my favorite parts about this series is just how they're handling the rogues, which is really fun. Again, heartbroken about what they're about to do. Interested to see how that plays out as well, which will be really cool. And then yeah, just some cool, interesting stuff. Also, I just love the art in this issue. I think it's really good. I love how they're drawing his not Speed Force. It just looks so cool. But yeah, I really love this issue.
Okay.
I'm liking this series a lot.
All right. Okay. That was Ethan's pick of the week, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's my pick.
Joshua, what's your pick of the week?
I'm gonna swing over to Marvel and do Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon, issue 4. This kind of closes out that mini-series set up for Armageddon, Chip Zdarsky's event that's coming. Neither of y'all read this, right? Is that
No,
No,
I
not
want
yet.
to, but
Yeah.
I just maybe there's a I just didn't feel compelled to right now. And is that a problem? You know what I mean? Like I want to read it, but like do I have to read it right now? And what could this comic be doing to like make me want to read it right now? I don't know.
y'all are both reading Captain America, right?
Yeah, I am.
I'm pretty
love
sure I've seen
Captain
it. Yeah.
America.
Okay. So this Colton plays a big role in this series, the 9/11 Captain America.
Yeah.
He plays a pretty big role, and it is directly leading into what will happen in Armageddon, I imagine. So basically, a 4-issue series, kind of setting up what I guess is leading towards. There's really cool stuff in this issue. I'm trying to figure out how much spoiler material we go into.
How many issues of this are there? 6?
4.
4.
It's done.
It's
This
just
was
ended?
this was the
Oh.
this was the final issue.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it picks back up in Avengers Armageddon, I think.
Okay. I'm just wondering what the premise of Armageddon is, because like with Captain America, it would just seem like, oh, that is Armageddon. But no, that's a prelude to Armageddon, which means Armageddon is even bigger than the events that are going down in Captain America.
Yeah. Someone gets some powers at the end of this issue that I think are potentially going to be a problem.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I'll check
And
out this story.
Okay.
yeah, and I think it has some tie-ins. It has some tie-ins to Ultimate Universe
Does
as
it
well.
really? Oh,
Mhm.
because of origin boxes.
Mhm.
Oh, see, also, I didn't read the one that came out this week with Reborn Ultimate Impact. None of us did, right?
Right, I'm like
No.
behind on Ultimate stuff. I'm like catching up.
Yeah.
That's funny that.
I'm reading Ultimate stuff on the app, so I'm way
Oh,
behind on all that.
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty caught up with Ultimate stuff, but this one, I mean, the premise of Ultimate Reborn or Reborn Ultimate Impact is that the origin boxes after the events of Ultimate Spider-Man uh,
Incursion? What
Incursion.
was that called?
Yeah. Miles comes back and he brings origin boxes, which then can give powers to people. And I think this is, and it's funny because I was just talking about Black Simon Williams. Like in the show, he's black. In the comics, he's not. And then I'm just like, I don't know whether I can go back to white Simon Williams. Like,
It's
but
like with Nick Fury.
yeah,
Once you
exactly.
go
Yeah.
black.
Yeah, it's like the white Nick Fury to me seems just so outdated now. Like he's very like old James Bond-esque like kind of
Mhm.
character where I'm just like, I'm kind of used to Nick Fury now. But I did see on some of the art that like there is a black Wonder Man now, but he's just a new character. So Marvel can
Mhm.
have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, they love doing that.
But his name isn't Simon Williams, but
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a whole other topic. I feel like DC does a better job of like synergy, like 'cause
yeah.
that's really what the Absolute Universe grew out of, where
Mhm.
Scott Snyder like reacted to the industry and like this whole superhero fatigue, which I'm also not going to get into because I can rant.
Yeah.
But he wanted to show the glory of comic books, and that's what he did. This is where it originates from. It not to say that it can't be the other way around. We have Harley Quinn and other examples of like, oh, those great stories translated. But in essence, the origin should be the comic books, not following the trend of the Marvel movies or TV shows, which take 5 years to come out. I'll leave it at that. But so like I'm not against it. It all depends on like how they do it. But if it's not from like an integrity artistic uh perspective, then I'm not really here for it. Miss Marvel becoming a mutant. Is that what's best for the story, or because you want to connect it to the MCU?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think right now with the companies, and again, yeah, we don't have much time, but I feel like okay, so like the medium of comics, first you have to like understand that it's a medium and it's not like a genre. So like the medium of comic books is the most produced medium with the like shortest turnaround time, right? So like out of most other than like the nightly news, like there's no other medium that like can take something and whip it back around for a consumer. With this sort of thing, right? Movies take a long time, even TV shows, you got to ride them out like in a way, but like comics can come out really quick so they can kind of comment on the times, right? But I do think that Marvel right now is letting the tail wag the dog for an industry that is so like it is just is behind comics versus DC for some reason is like innovating in house and then letting the dog wag the tail down the road, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't know, it's just crazy how that is. And like you can argue one way or another which one should happen, but like I think with the turnaround time of comics, like you need the comics to come first and wag the movies, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're seeing what's working and what's successful right now, and that to me is basically the answer. Because just like growing up, I've seen like Marvel was always beating DC, like in everything, whether it's the MCU or comics. Like I would say, of course, Batman in the top 10, but usually it was all Marvel. So now it is not that way. So I think that DC has really adjusted to the moment versus Marvel is still kind of relying on its old tricks.
Yeah,
That's my perspective.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. You brought up Miss Marvel, so I do want to bring up this comic next. But also selfishly because it was like essentially my number two pick was Inglorious X-Force issue number 5. Did you guys read? Are you guys reading this one?
I am not.
I am, yeah.
You are. At the very least, it came to the end of this book, and like at the like the last page, and I was like, "Is this it?" And then I looked, and I was like, "Oh no, there's more issues after this." But I thought it was just gonna finish a miniseries, and it was like just gonna end, and I was like, "Oh no, I hope it's an ongoing."
Yeah. Well, you never know with Marvel.
Yeah, that's the worst when
Uh,
you're reading a comic and you get to the end, and you're like, "Oh, it was a mini series that's now just over. This was the okay. But no, this is written by Tim Seeley. The story has been interesting from the beginning. Is it getting a little bit in itself when it comes to like X-Men lore? A little bit with Archangel, but I think the premise in and of itself is pretty simple but pretty compelling. It's like Cable's back from the future. In the future, there's a mutant president. The first mutant president of the United States gets assassinated. Cable goes back in time to stop that assassination with like clues that he knows, but his memory is fuzzy. And then turns out the mutant president is Kamala Khan. When she's grown up, she's the first mutant president of the United States, and she's the one who gets assassinated. So he puts together a team of pretty badass people and Kamala Khan. And so, because Kamala Khan's great, but she's not badass. Like she's not that type of character. That's not her. Which is great because it puts a little bit of a foil on the team, the Inglorious X-Force team, right? But I don't like her mutant power in this. She does something in this. You remember, Joshua? She creates like the force fields like bubbles, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I thought she could I didn't know she could extend her thing. I thought she can create the force field around herself, but she's creating like Invisible Woman type bubbles, right?
That's what it appeared to be, yes.
What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Her mutant powers sometimes to me are just whatever they decide in that moment. I never really truly understand what they are.
Like back in the day, you didn't understand what they are?
No, just now, recently.
Oh,
They
yeah,
just
recently, yeah.
sometimes just things happen and I'm like, oh, I guess she can do that.
She was fine just
yeah,
the way she was.
I know.
Like,
But, they're gonna mess with stuff.
like they could have pulled a Carnage trick where so like Venom can like stretch and shapeshift and whatever, right? But Venom can't split off himself. But like Carnage can, right? Like Carnage can throw Carnage daggers at people, but Venom can't.
Yeah.
They could have just done that as her secondary mutation. That she can split, not into people, but like she can stretch and split. There you go. You didn't need that like crystal casing or whatever.
The hard light.
The hard light,
yeah.
like it's just Green Lantern powers. But and I love Kamala Khan, but she doesn't have an
I
ongoing.
do too.
And she has these mutant powers that I can't understand. She was fine just the way she was.
Yeah, it just feels very like reactionary to me versus something that feels like, oh, we've thought about this. This is the long-term goal. And because like what's best for the, live action isn't necessarily what's best for the comics, but they're looking at, synergy and brand recognition, which not to say like that's not important, but to me what's more important is telling a good story. People want absolute Batman, like an animated movie, animated series, like they want this whole universe. So as I said before, it kind of needs to originate from the comics and then work its way outward and implement elements that work for the comics if they work for the comics, but don't feel obligated to.
Yeah. A good example of this is the Lego Batman game, Legacy of the Dark Knight, that's coming out. the story isn't absolute Batman, but they have an absolute Batman Lego skin, and they have a Night Quest. What was it called? What was the DCKO?
Nightfall?
The DCKO one.
Oh, Night Quest.
Was it Night Quest?
Yeah.
I'm blanking now. I just saw it yesterday.
Night Fight.
Night Fight. Yeah.
Night Fight.
Yeah.
They have a Night Fight suit, right? And so it's like, did they choose to do a Night Fight Lego game? No, but they were like, there's a Lego game, and we can put all the other stuff in there and have it be just a solid game on its own. I bought the pre-order, but it's late, and the pre-order is just going to be the order now. So I haven't yet to play it, but I bought it to play early. I'm going to get it tomorrow. Anyway, my point being is Marvel is letting the other stuff dictate the comics. When Kamala Khan was fine just the way she was in the comics, she had multiple ongoings. Like, even when it ended, there was another ongoing, right? Like, her thing was pretty consistent. And then they decided to kill her, resurrect her as a mutant, give her a new power, and then suddenly she doesn't have an ongoing. Which is weird, because shouldn't a mutant have isn't it she's more sellable as a mutant, but she's not?
And a mutant with her own TV show.
Right. Which, again, is only a matter of time till, Amon Villani, ages out of that role. So where the hell is the season 2?
Yeah, because they take so long for the season 2s, and the season 1 is short. And then, we don't know the future of these characters, and that's why I'm like, what's the sense of mirroring what's happening in the MCU when the future is very uncertain? We don't know if we're getting a Miss Marvel season 2, So
will Haley Steinfeld even come back to play Kate Bishop? She's having a baby. She is a mom now.
The baby is going to be a Avenger.
The baby is going to be Kate Bishop by the time. They're just going to be we're just going to give the role to your daughter.
Yes.
You know? I definitely think that movies as a medium are the Hulk, right? Very strong, whatever. But comics are like Quicksilver, and Quicksilver is just boom, 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 and then Hulk is just boom, right? I'm a little disappointed. All right. Anyway, what are you guys excited about to talk about?
I'll also go with X-Men United issue 3. I feel like this one really locked in. First of all, I love Captain America, and he was represented correctly.
Oh, nice.
I just hate it when Captain America goes to the X-Men and he's Mr. Patriotic all of a sudden. That's not him. Reading his comic right now, he legit always goes against the government. If they don't follow his beliefs, then he goes rogue. That's legit what happened in the current storyline.
Yeah.
So when you put him with the X-Men, don't have him all of a sudden be the poster boy for the American government. So love that he is looking out for Black soldiers. This was something that was on his heart, that even though he wasn't directly responsible for what happened to them, he still felt like it was his duty to make sure he was okay. And so he, end up going traveling to him and making sure he's okay. But then this fight breaks out between them, and he's trying to calm everybody down. And that's what I also enjoyed, because the X-Men, I feel like they do feel kind of rougher. And so it's and especially with these being newer mutants, they're not going to be oh, well, let's look at the nuance of the situation. So it took Cap to be the grown-up in the room to tell them hey, don't beat this old man down.
Yeah.
He has every right to be upset and to fight back. And so I just love how Cap was represented, that he can be in an X-Men story without being Mr. Government, President Lapdog.
Yeah.
So,
or an anti-mutant bigot sometimes.
Right. Exactly. So I was very pleased with it. And I feel like a lot of that is due to Eve L. Ewing, who understands those nuances of this conversation. And that is the benefit of having someone with that perspective writing this type of story, because it's just very easy to bifurcate things and to separate them into oh, well, he acts like this and they act like that. Let's appreciate the nuances that Cap would find family and community with the X-Men as well. He goes to them for this mission. So this was kind of the surprise hit. And I will also say, maybe really the first issue where I felt like I understood the point of X-Men United, because this feels very much like they're still out there helping the world in their own way, versus Uncanny and X-Men. Not that they're not good, which they are, but it's also very kind of like granular. It's very like Louisiana, it's very like, Alaska, like based there, and like their own struggles of surviving. They do missions at other places. I'm not saying that they don't, but for all intents and purposes, it feels very kind of like smaller, which is fine because I love personal stories. But this feels like they can make a difference on a global scale. And using their powers and everything that they have gives them the opportunity to actually fulfill what their true purpose is.
Joshua, are you
Yeah.
reading? Are you reading these?
Yeah. Absolutely agree. I thought this issue was really good. I think I was on Comic Talk last time when X-Men United 2 came out, and I talked about how much I really liked that, just because, again, I love Cap's like one of my favorite characters. I love the Isaiah Bradley stories. So like
I forget what happens in
tying
issue
that
2.
in. Basically Cap just goes and asks them to go and visit this soldier. And they kind of send a team out there, and they get kind of trapped in different times. And this kind of
That's
picks
right.
up right where that left off, basically.
Okay.
And completes that story. But yeah, I thought it was great. I thought again, a complete understanding of all of the characters in a way that doesn't often happen as different writers get a hold of them. This felt like a really great representation of Cap, and it also felt like a really good representation of the younger team, the younger strike team that they sent on this mission, which I thought was really well done. And just to really give time to this soldier's story. Like, it wasn't just a fight and then, okay, well, this happened. Like, they spent a lot of time talking about his past and what happened to him, which I really appreciated. Especially as we're looking at this from like Cap and the X-Men's perspective too, right? Where he's actually getting to sit and just listen and then be there to make his amends that he feels like he needs to with these black soldiers that were experimented on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a great issue.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like X-Men United issue 1, but if you guys are saying like it's getting better and whatever, like cool. I need to jump back on it. I do want to shout out Patrick Martin 9163 that hopped in our chat saying, "Ooh, that sounds like an awesome issue. Is United a good place to start if you want to get into X-Men comics? Love the OG 97 cartoon and the new one." People and you guys, because you guys make amazing content too, I'm sure, like people are asking you guys about recommendations. I've been thinking about it recently when people say, "Where do I start?" Somebody asked me about Nightwing. And I think there's 3 questions I got to ask people when they ask for recommendations. One is, do you have any previous knowledge of these characters or stories, right? Maybe it's just like watching the MCU. So like, okay, like you know something about these characters. It might be a little bit different, whatever. Are you willing to do extracurricular research? Which is, if you don't know about, Sebastian Shaw, like you're going to look him up on Wikipedia, maybe, right? Are you willing to do that? And then third is your goal to be current with X-Men and read back, or do you want to just read the best of, the greatest hits, the past stuff, and doesn't really matter if you're current or not? And like, those are like the 3 things. Me personally, I don't think X-Men United is the place to start with X-Men. If Patrick Martin 9163 loves the OG 97 cartoon, then I would say maybe Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone might be a good start for you, like issue 1, because it's literally that 90s team. And I would also couple it with X-Men by who's the writer on
Ryan
Jed
Stegman?
McKay.
Jed McKay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jed McKay.
For some reason, I get Jed McKay mixed up with Jeff Lemire because of the J's. And then Jason Aaron. 3 J's. That's what it is. I get the 3 J's mixed up. And I'm like, who's writing X-Men? Yes, Jed McKay's writing that. I would recommend those 2 titles in tandem, maybe, for like if your goal is to stay current and you have previous knowledge of the X-Men. The goal is to like get back on, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like those are good starting points.
If the goal is to stay current, if it's not like the greatest hits.
Yeah, and there's enough issues, I feel like, to still get like a good sense of context about who these characters are and where they've been.
Yeah. Also, I want to point out that like people are always pointing out that the X-Men are essentially just a gang. Like they're just like always like, let's just like beat this villain to pulp.
Basically, they like jump people. I mean,
they do. But then next issue, they're like, all right, you've been initiated. Like they will, the X-Men they're so lenient on villains. Like not in the moment. They are the opposite of lenient in the moment. They might kill you. But like give them like a couple months and they're like, all right, come on over.
We're still family.
yeah, kind of that. It's like we will literally murder you, but also we're blood, so we gotta kind of, maybe figure things out. Especially Krakoan era, which is like everybody gets a restart. Maybe we'll forgive your transgressions.
Yeah, they're like, if you survive our beatdown, then you have earned a spot on the team.
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
Yeah. X-Men are kind of funny in that. Like the Avengers don't. Well, actually, the Avengers kind of do it a little bit. They'll put villains on their team sometimes, but it really is a careful amnesty program. Whereas X-Men are sometimes too like risky with like, all right, Mystique, hang out at the mansion. It's like Mystique at the mansion. She could be anyone. You can't trust anyone now.
Yeah, she's also family. I mean, and we all have those family members where can't let them go.
She's so messy. Yep. She is so messy.
Yeah.
Like, don't turn into a student to seduce your daughter's like boyfriend. Like, what is Mystique doing? Anyway.
Yeah.
So yes. Ethan, you brought up a good point about Eve L. Ewing and her writing with X-Men United. Is that like, I think mutants work best on an intersectional sort of like lens, which essentially means you have to be nuanced, because that's intersectionality at its basis, is like the nuance of being in these like weird overlapping circles, Yeah,
precisely. And so that's what I was kind of referring to earlier of like, Marvel versus DC, and being very critical of Marvel because like I know these stories very well, and like if you're talking about things that are comparable to racism and prejudice, and they don't hit the right notes, because I can tell that it's written by someone who does not experience it on a certain level, then to me that's basically unreadable.
Right.
So with Eve's perspective and like what she brought to it, and understanding that nuance of like Captain America, compared to the X-Men and how they operate, and even how Emma Frost uses her white privilege at the end, is very much like that's what we want to see. Of like, yes, you have mutant powers, but then you also have other privileges that other mutants don't. There's like levels to it. Like, all mutants, some mutants are white, some are black, some are Hispanic, some are like creatures, so like even they would be even lower on the totem pole on the whole like Morlock level. Yeah. So it's like you really have to understand, as you were saying, the diversity, the intersectionality of what this group actually does versus, as I said, what other writers do of having it, the X-Men are like this, and then Captain America is like that, when it's not that straightforward.
Yeah. I mean, even Iron Man went through a great story arc when he was with Emma during the Krakoan age, where Iron Man to me is like, it's not even Captain America. Like Iron Man to me seems like the antithesis of mutant struggle.
Oh yeah. That's why I have a hard time connecting to Tony Stark. I do my best. And not that I have to like, I have to relate, but I feel like Tony Stark is so far from me to where like I cannot find, not that I hate him, I just don't care for him.
Yeah.
And I can't bring myself to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on.
But him and Emma, though, that story, like, I like that era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
I mean,
know?
if it's written well, I feel like any story, no matter really like who the character is, once again, I don't relate to the characters in succession, but I love that series
Yeah.
because it's brutally honest. And I think if you can tell a brutally honest story about Tony Stark, then that is what I think will actually be one that resonates. And that's what I feel like you were saying with Emma's story with him. Because I feel like it brought out something different than what had been seen before. It like shakes it up. And that's always been my issue with reading Tony Stark is I'm comparing him to other stories and I'm like, this doesn't really match up for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I could talk so much about this. Yeah. So, let's see. What else did we read this week? Joshua. What else you got?
I got another one that I really liked was Odin, #1. I know y'all didn't get to that one.
Yeah. Image Comics.
Really, Image Comics. I really enjoyed that first issue. If you're not familiar, I won't get into spoiler details, but if you're not familiar, the premise is basically a investigative reporter a la Hunter S. Thompson has ingrained herself with neo-Nazis to kind of investigate the rise of neo-Nazi behavior within like Gen Z spaces. So it's really interesting premise, and these folks are going to basically to the fatherland in Norway to do a blood ritual.
It's kind of
they're
like
kind
how,
of
like,
pretend.
what's that?
They're like doing it for clout. I mean, they're like
Right.
trying to be the best neo-Nazis. So it's not like it's hard to know if they actually are true believers or not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
but it gets crazy and weird.
Is it riding on the fact that essentially, like in real life, neo-Nazis co-opt like Norse mythology and Norse runes, and that like there's a lot of like neo-Nazi tattoos aren't the swastika necessarily anymore. Like it's just like these like Norse runes that like signal to other neo-Nazis that you know what's up or whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was the premise of this. I just thought this was Norse mythology related.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So I mean, some things go down.
Okay, cool.
That are weird.
Is it like Midsummer? Is this like Midsummer meets American History X?
That's not a bad comp. I'm gonna be honest. It's pretty spot on, really.
Okay.
But you know, it's a Tiny Onion book, and the writing was really good. I think it's all told from the journalist perspective, as if you're reading her notebook almost.
Mm-hmm.
With the narration. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The art is really good, and it gets really creepy and weird pretty quick. And also it's just I don't know, it's unnerving because the main cast of characters are white power neo-Nazis. So
yeah,
it's already unnerving to begin with. And then it gets like supernaturally weird.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Cool.
I'm interested to see where it goes. And it's a really good horror book. So
yeah.
Cool.
We'll pick up the pace and hit the rest of the comics on our list. I do have to shout out I don't know if you guys have ever seen Long Shot, is that what it's called? The Charlize Theron, Seth Rogen movie. Is it called Is it called Long Shot?
Maybe a while
she's
ago.
the president?
Yeah, well, she's running for president, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny because first thing, it's a great movie, like super underrated. Like as a rom-com, but also as like just almost like it's more like the West Wing than it is like a normal Seth Rogen movie. But it starts off with Seth Rogen at a neo-Nazi like not a rally, but a neo-Nazi meeting. and he's because he's an investigative reporter and he has to pretend, and they're like, we're all getting tattoos. Where do you want your swastika? And they got the tattoo guy about to, and he's like freaking out because he doesn't want a swastika tattoo on him. And it's funny, but it's also like, I don't know. It's a really good movie if you guys haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't think
I
I've
remember
touched on
seeing it a while ago. I remember seeing it a while ago, but I forgot that whole bit.
I mean, it's worth seeing again, I think. I've seen it twice, and I'm like, yeah, I'll probably
Yeah.
see it again.
I'll check it out because I forgot about that movie.
It's really endearing, like for some reason. But yeah. Anyway, okay, so we gotta hit the rest of the books. Who read New Titans 35?
I read it.
I read it too. How are you feeling about it?
I liked it. It was good. I feel like it could have been better. With this being a cyborg story, kind of my expectations might have been, let's say, I guess maybe higher than expected. It's not like it was bad. I just expected more from it. He kind of has this, they're in a simulation, which I'm going to be honest, I don't really love. It feels like they're like stuck in the mud. And I want them to be like out doing like real things and like we're stuck in this simulation. Especially with this new team, I want them out doing stuff. And then Cyborg kind of has this connection with a version of his younger self, and I felt like it could have gone deeper, and I didn't really feel it on a level that I wanted to. It's fine how everything unfolded. I just wasn't moved by it. So that's kind of my review of it.
I like him talking to his little kid self, and like that's sweet, but also could have been sweeter. Like, make me cry. Like, do it.
Exactly.
Like, it didn't, but you could. I give you permission.
Yeah, precisely. Because like I really do feel bad for Victor Stone. It's like I think oftentimes it's taken for granted. Like what happened to him. Yes, it's cool to be a cyborg, obviously, but also you lose a part of your humanity, and then also just like from the Black experience, your humanity is always taken away from you in general. So I just feel this extra sense of like closeness to it. Even one of the biggest surprises, I know people hate Zack Snyder, but in the Justice League movie, when they did the extended cut and it showed Victor in the car with his mom and he starts breaking down, like I actually started breaking down very quickly, which I didn't expect, because we don't often see that sensitive side. We see the strong side in the machine.
The booyah side.
Exactly, but when he's in the car with his, that's just a son and his mother. And so that's kind of what I wanted from this to, in some form, where I felt like, oh no, like this is maybe like his second chance, or like if he could have like, if he could tell himself something at that age, what would he say? Like I wanted that from it. And the writing really didn't reach that point. But it was fine. It wasn't bad. I just wasn't moved.
Yeah. This is 3 issues into the New Titans, essentially, right? So this is New Titans 35. I think New Titans 33 was the first issue, and that was like in a dream Groundhog Day sort of situation. And I don't like dream scenarios or virtual reality simulations, because I'm just like, well, what's the real meat and potatoes of this? Is it just that anything can happen? Like, I don't care about that. But with this, cool. I just needed to get past this point, because this might be the first time we got an all-new Titans team where it transitioned in instead of just starting with the new team, which I think is, maybe that's why I'm like a little thrown off by it. But I just want the new team to like start up and just like do their thing. Also, my other wish, I want Cyborg to be able to turn to a fully human form. And not necessarily, like partially for a catharsis sort of situation where he can feel more human, but also for the idea that it's almost like hiding his superhero side too. And like what negative, like there's negativity and positivity that could come from that, if Vic Stone is existing in the world as someone who isn't noticeably a superhero anymore.
Yeah. And I think that would be good for his character development as well, because, they tend to go back to the same stories over and over again. If you've been a fan of really any character, they're like, oh, let's do that story again. But I feel like, funnily enough, like the Teen Titans animated series did a really good job of that. And like I think it was like the Titans East two-parter, might have been one episode. Either case, he like went undercover and like had this like illusion, this like virtual like version of himself that was human. And so even though he was with the enemy, he was able to feel like a real
That was the
person.
Hive stuff with Stone, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I, once again, because that's exploring his humanity. And I love that where like Robin's like, okay, get the stuff and then like come back. And he's like, well, I'm working on it. Because he
Yeah.
was able to express himself, and that just gave him that agency in terms of his character to explore what that would mean to him.
And even in that cartoon, that's like a spiritual sequel to that episode where he goes up against Atlas, and he's afraid of being fully a robot, right? And then he isn't. He can go above 100%, right?
Exactly.
But I also want to shout out the Doom Patrol show, where Cyborg is allowed that like introspection to that character for the first time, maybe, like, because that's the most airplay he ever really gets is like on that show, because he's like a character on it. So anyway, we got to hit the rest of our the books in our lists. So let's just do like, we'll do like kind of one sentence sort of wrap ups, if that's cool with you guys, for the sake of time.
Yeah.
Let's see. How is Alias Red Band issue 3? Did you read this one?
I did not get to that one.
Okay, that's fine. Fantastic Four issue 11 takes place after the Invincible Woman arc. I liked it. It didn't really like move the needle much for me, but like it was good. Ryan North is good on this.
Yeah, I feel like this was necessary after the like epicness of the Invincible Woman. Like she was actually downright terrifying. Just because I feel like she's now on a level of like Omega level, like her powers are out of this world, literally. So that arc was very dope. But I think after that, you kind of need to come down versus the next big thing. I kind of just want like a chill time to like recuperate. So I'm glad that we got Ben Grimm being like reflective and wanting to be more than, it's a simple story, but he wants to be seen as thoughtful and intelligent, and that was made him endearing in a similar way to what we were talking about with Cyborg. He's not just a rock monster. He is a human man who looks a certain way. So I'm glad that he got to experience that.
Yeah. And I think that this gave me that hope that we don't also get in a lot of Marvel stuff, like we were talking about earlier, because there was that sentimentality and hope there at the end that Ben got to literally put his pin on, which I thought was just really sweet. And it moved me a little bit. I thought it was a good little, I'm a sucker for sentimentality anyway, but
Same.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
All right, cool. Amazing Spider-Man 29.
I kind of feel the same way about Fantastic Four. Like it wasn't like a huge knockdown issue, but after everything with Torment in that storyline and him being out in space, this issue covers a lot of ground, which is good, without it feeling overstuffed. The new kind of Spore villain, I'm also into that and seeing where that goes. Yeah, I feel like this was a solid issue. Wasn't, the best ever, but once again, I feel like it's necessary, like a cool down period after such a big arc.
Fair. What about Batman? Wait, what'd you say, Joshua?
Oh yeah, I was just saying. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Did you read this one?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. It was on my list. Again, I didn't get to it. So, okay. What about Batwoman issue 3?
I feel like this was maybe the strongest issue so far. Greg Rucka is just a beast of a writer. But I think what really affected me this time, like I just feel really bad for Kate Kane. Like I feel like I don't fully know what's going on with her mentally, and that's like concerning me. It's just a very like almost off balance way of starting a series, but it makes sense because like I have read her previous run, so like her life is continuing, and like her choices and like where she is and like the therapy and then her father trying to get to her. It's very like hitting me on a more personal level where I'm just like, can you just be with Renee Montoya and be happy? Like, please. So this was a very strong issue.
Yeah. And I think it was the first one that I really felt was like really gripped me. Like I was intrigued on the first two, and this one just felt like I was really completely balled in,
Mhm.
and just really felt a lot for Kate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, Nightwing 138. I've been up to date. I just didn't read this one. I liked the previous issue. Did you guys read this one?
Yeah. My comic shop didn't have it, unfortunately. So I'll read it later.
Okay. Joshua.
I did, yeah. I enjoyed it. I've been enjoying this. I jumped on, I guess, once this new Bloodhaven story arc started.
Yeah.
Um, and I've been really enjoying it. I thought this was a great issue. Again, let's keep this weird folklore thing in Bloodhaven. It's really cool.
Yeah.
We get some surprise characters in this issue, so it
Okay.
was awesome.
I like the weird supernatural folklore stuff in Bloodhaven as opposed to Gotham. I like the idea that Gotham's just a city. Like there's no reason for the corruption other than people, right? Like I don't need
Yeah.
it to be Gotham to be built on, Native American burial grounds. Like I just need Gotham to be the problem with the people, like the people and the corruption,
Hmm.
the systems in place, right? But
Mhm.
Bloodhaven, creepy, ghost girl in the freeway, the forest, sure. Bloodhaven, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Superman Unlimited 13.
Yeah, I read this. This was also good. I really like what they're doing with John Kent and Tomorrow Man. I like that identity for him, bringing back the younger John Kent because it feels like the second chance for him to have like a normal life. You also have what's it Bobo, the
Beppo.
chimpanzee, but yeah, but Beppo who
Yeah.
becomes super super strong Kryptonian.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a fun issue. I kind of want more from the reign of the Superboys in general. It doesn't really feel as kind of climactic as I expect it to be, but on a personal level, it is doing it very well.
Okay.
Mhm.
I wanted to read this one, but fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got? Rocketfellers issue 0. I read the previous series and now it's issue 0. So I don't know what comes next because I know there's like Ghost Machine's kind of retooling everything, so I'm trying to figure out what they got planned. But Joshua, did you read this one?
Yeah, yeah, it was solid. It introduced that new series that they have coming, I think the $1 trillion Kid or something like
Yeah.
that. His character at the very beginning. But basically this was just a um here's what happened the minute they got to, so if you've read the
Yeah.
first issue, they got to our time
Yeah.
from the future, and this is what happened like the immediate second that they landed. So it's kind of just like a here's what happened
It could have been just like a free
story.
comic book day issue.
It kind of could have been that.
Okay.
It
Um,
wasn't like anything special. I mean, but I love that family and I love the story, so it was
yeah.
good. But
I mean, the story is essentially Phil of the Future. I don't know if you guys, it's Phil of the Future, but
I'm
they're
in.
on the run. They're on the run from, let's just say, the
Say
mob.
less.
So it's like Phil of the Future meets Looper, maybe, like
yeah,
in a way.
throw
I'm
in some
loving
family.
your comps are actually amazing.
Yeah. Throw in some Fantastic Four family dynamic and you've basically got it.
Yeah. Meet the Robinsons, sort of. It's just like future family that's
Lost
come
in
back in
space.
time. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like they come back to the present. They're from the future and they come back to the present because they're on the run. So it's like it is Phil of the Future, but with higher stakes.
Yeah.
How can it have higher
But-
stakes than Phil of the Future?
I think Phil of the Future, their premise was they wanted to go on vacation and they get stuck in the modern day, right? Like
Mhm.
that was the premise. So, it is what it is. Any Gen Zers that are out there watching or listening, they don't know who I'm talking about. They're like,
No.
who is feeling the
What?
future? The future, like the artist's future? Who is feeling him? I don't know. It's Phil of the Future. Get it right. All right.
Right.
So that was Rocketfellers. Odin. Okay, and then I think a couple more for Joshua. Ethan, you don't have anything more on your list, right?
I think that is it.
Okay.
Yes.
So then
That's it.
Joshua, you're in charge of taking us home here. We got a couple more. TMNT Shredder, issue number 8.
I love it. It's good. I love the TMNT world. I like kind of this series. It's kind of just basically like a crime noir book with Shredder as the protagonist, kind of. It's
Okay.
weird, but also he might be trying to now build up a new Foot Clan.
Yeah.
So it's good. I
All right.
enjoy it, and he's just Shredder being cool.
Cool. Written by Dan Waters,
Dan
published
Waters,
by
yeah.
IDW. All right. What about Nectar number 3?
Nectar number 3, this is again just a really fun horror book. Basically, these butterflies come and infect this island, and they start dancing, and then it kills them, and then the butterflies drain all of their blood.
Okay, cool.
And it's just a horde of these weird vampire butterflies.
See, I didn't know that. I could kind of get it from the covers, but I think saying that they're vampire butterflies is more intriguing. Like I need to
Yeah.
know that to like get me interested in the book.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise,
But it like takes over your body.
Oh, is it?
So
Wait,
they
it's like
kind of make
Peacemaker?
you.
Season 1?
So they like when they bite you, they just like you lose control of your body and you just start to dance until your body starts to rapidly decompose, and then you fall over, and then they drain your whole blood.
Okay.
It's weird, but it's fun. It's just a fun horror book.
Okay. Cool.
Weird premise.
And then I think last but not least, you have Sirens, Love Hurts, book 4 by DC Black label.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Great series. I love this book. It was so fun. We get the finale of the horoscope killer. We get the wedding of Dinah and Ollie. It was just a lot of fun. Everyone kind of comes together, and yeah, it was a great issue.
I only read issue 1, and I'd been meaning to read the next however many issues, but I was so certain that you say horoscope killer. I was so certain that it was going to be the comic debut of Calendar Woman from
Yeah.
Batman the Animated Series, but it's not. So a little disappointed about that.
Oh,
But
sorry.
but I
Ruined it.
I don't think I'm going to be disappointed by reading it. This book is way too sexy. I'll say that. This is too sexy of a book, and not in a bad
Yeah.
way, but in a like, look, I got other things I got to do, but also I do want to read it. Like, come on, leave me alone. And the covers, just the covers alone. Fab
know.
Stars is putting in the work, and Teeny Howard writing it.
Yep.
Great,
Yeah.
but also
Great team.
Also, come on, stop. Anyway, that's it. STAWP. Stop. Thank you guys so much. I think that's all the books that we read this week. So thank you guys so much for jumping on Comic Talk, taking time out of your night to be here, talking comics. Before we get going, Joshua, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Joshua Stephen Ling on TikTok and Instagram. Go buy books from your local comic book shop. And if you're in North Carolina, Acme Comics is a great shop. You should check it out.
Awesome. Support your local comic shops. Yeah. Ethan, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Yep. So check out Virgo Blade. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Just more comic reviews, more TV shows and movies. House of the Dragon season 3 is coming up, so I'll be making a lot of videos on that, as well as my adventures with Superman and X-Men 97. So yeah, lots of stuff in the pipeline.
There's so many things coming out soon. I need to start like writing it down.
Yeah, I'm like preparing for it. June is going to be very heavy.
Oof. My Adventures with Superman is flying under the radar right now. Not many people are talking about it, but it's gonna. I'm so glad it got a third season, because
yeah, Superboy is coming.
Yeah, and who's the big buff guy supposed to be?
Cyborg Superman? Wait, who?
Like there's an image of like a big, huge kind of like bruiser looking Superman looking guy, and I'm
my
like,
first reaction was, what's his name? Zeus. From Gotham.
Bane.
Like,
Maxie. Maxie Zeus.
Yeah, Maxie Zeus. I don't think it's him, but when I think of like big guy, I think of Maxie Zeus.
It could be like a Doomsday precursor if they're trying to like work in these clone angles, which is kind of what they're doing. So I don't know. Who knows?
Could be.
But they're not doing Death of Superman.
Right. It is like Reign of Superman.
Yeah.
But without the death.
By the way, has Steel showed up on the show yet?
Yeah, he was in season 2.
Yeah, he was. That's right. Okay,
Yeah,
that's.
yeah.
I need I need that.
Yes.
I'm so happy with DC right now. I
Me too.
can't like I can't state it enough. Again, with Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, it's you gotta do video games too, and then like cartoons. You gotta like those two get forgotten a lot. Like
Yep.
you gotta, So thank you both of you for coming on the show. For anyone who wants to follow me personally, follow me on Instagram at @thisisdimitri. I'm also trying to create more content on my personal TikTok to kind of separate it from the Keeg stuff. So like recently I was talking about Primal that, just got into that. So this is Dimitri on TikTok and Instagram. Also there's some big Keeg news that I'm going to be announcing later. So, stay tuned for that. Recently I was on Trivial Pursuit. So, follow me on my personal stuff if you want to. But we are doing not only the Comic Talk, it's every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. That is this show where we talk about new comics that come out every week. We also got the Keeg Talks, where we talk about different topics, movies, TV shows, that sort of thing. Most recently, we talked about Invincible. We talked about Daredevil Born Again. We talked about Marvel Comics Civil War, what has happened in these last 20 years since that crossover event has come out. And that was an extra long episode. That was like a 3-hour long episode. So tune in for that. And then tomorrow we're going to do a Boys season finale or season/series finale of the Boys episode. Before we take a week off of Comic Talk. So we want to have Comic Talk next week, but it is what it is. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Keeg Show. Also on Threads, Facebook, Blue Sky, all that. At The Keeg Show /The Keeg Show, wherever you can find The Keeg. Support us there. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you do want it to cost you something, go to patreon.com/The Keeg Show and help us out there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review. Let us know you're out there. We're pushing a lot more content lately. And again, some big announcements coming up soon. Shout out to Patrick Martin 9163 for hopping in our chat. Thank you so much for doing that. Go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you, support your local comic shops, and support your local public libraries. Whether they have comics or not, 99% of the time, they got a big old comic section that you could definitely take advantage of. You should just be supporting local libraries because they do a lot for the community. And, just look around. They're going to have something for you. So, support them there. That is pretty much it. I think that's everything that I need to say. Thank you everybody out there. Again, if you're watching us live, youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. But definitely appreciate all you guys. And Ethan and Joshua, appreciate you guys as well.
Thank you.
That's pretty much it. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been Comic Talk for the week of May 21st, 2026. Take care, everybody. See you guys next time.
Peace out.
Super fast, gotta beat the boss and get the loot, 'cause it's the king.